Modern-day witch hunt. Driven by good. As the flames danced under her feet, she stared into her persecutor's eyes. She did everything to hold in her emotions. He'd win if she cried. She spent her prime in this quiet village. It offered her the solitude she craved, the communal bond they valued. She spent years learning multiple disciplines to automate some of her daily chores, a Rube Goldberg matriarch, of sorts. This gave her free time for her passion, learning. Being able to support herself, she knew he'd consider her a threat. However, she didn't anticipate how effectively the townsfolk could be swayed. He had worked his magic, cloaked in legal jargon. He was able to overturn a seemingly small ruling that allowed him to shepherd the masses against anyone he deemed a witch. In doing so, the power of dark money dug its claws deep into the innocence of the townsfolk. The gentries, through a network of non-profits, had invested a fortune into pamphlets to spread the word that lonely cat ladies were conspiring to destroy the fertile lands they sought to control. As expected, an unease festered from a small thorn to a severe infection. The most timid townsfolk were convinced the limb must go to save the body. The soul would fare much grimmer. The townsfolk were relieved when he dictated they look away, told it was for their safety. He threatened the watchers with her curse. He knew the truth, they'd see what they inflicted on their neighbor. They wouldn't want to change who they had become. They would refuse to support him. The townsfolk avoided eye contact. They feared challenging what they knew was wrong. They let the atrocity continue. They would go home that night and remind themselves of how good they were. To believe otherwise would be too life-shattering. As the loving warmth drowned her pain, her mind flooded with memories of past, and unexplainably of future. She foresaw this would not be the end of the hunt. He demanded his legacy continue. She wielded a power that would hold him captive for centuries. She didn't let him see her cry. As she took her last breath, a spell was unknowingly cast, but not by her. He would chain future generations to cling to control, as he did. The townsfolk were damned to relive their sin, voiceless bystanders, yearning for the day they would return to caring for their neighbor. For their inaction, the townsfolk would pass on a collective burden of regret.